you see me, no disguises. Keep that thing with me, cause I don't do surprises. J Chanel, show and tell, all facts, no lies, streak. Get your life, cause I'm the type to come through with that 9 quick. Eyes on me, what you care for? Watching me, baby, care for. If you ain't a fan, where the cameras? Hide in the back with the bellboys. My circle so restricted. Hands raised like it's your religion. When I sleep, pay close attention. Fake friends out here pretending. Get your life, baby. I got mine, why you can serve my mind, baby. Feeling me, that's why they killing me. Baby, get your life. Get your life, baby. I got mine, why you concern my mind, baby. Feeling me, that's why they killing me. Baby, get your life.
Focus there.
Watch them cause they after me like a pot of gold. I'm not for play, ask Keisha if you don't know. I'm a little bit cray. Approach me, you better be right. If you don't come correctly, you can catch these cans tonight. Eyes on me, what you care for? Watching me, baby, care for. If you ain't a fan, where the cameras? Hide in the back with the bellboys. My circle's so restricted. Hands raised like it's your religion. When I sleep, pay close attention. Fake friends out here pretending. Get your life, baby. I got mine, why you can serve my mind, baby. Feeling me, that's why they killing me. Baby, get your life.
Get your life.
Get your life, baby. I got mine, why you can serve my mind, baby. Feeling me, that's why they killing me. Baby, get your life.
Get your life, boo.
Alrighty. Good morning, good evening, good night, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's your nighttime, right time DJ Music here, back again on the Friday edition of the Chop Shop. You see it on the screen there in front of you, ladies and gentlemen. Top news, what we're going to talk about today. Well, on the left-hand side, you see I got your boy Anton Daniels lined up. In the middle, we see the parents of young Karmelo Anthony, and on the left, on the bottom right-hand corner, we see a cat I've been following for quite some time there, Brian Taylor Cohen. We're going to talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene and why no one is calling out some of this stuff that she's been doing there or has been involved of as lately, but yet, as reported yesterday, you see they are trying to say that the Attorney General Letitia James is up to no good, talking about she's been involved in real estate fraud. No fact, no reason, no actual crime, but it's printed all over the news there, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. But before I go any further, let me say hello to my right-hand person there. She's always jumping in with me and always have some great insight. I'm talking about the one and only Shar Willie. How you doing, Shar? Come on in and say hello to the folks. We grab you some goodness over there. You know, we got wine and cheese. A late night. You know.
Yeah, I appreciate it though. Hello, everyone. Hello.
How that weather in the Shire? What's it like over there?
A high of 70 degrees today, and folks out acting up, got the shorts on and
Your cousin,
stomachs out. Yeah.
your, your cousin's out already.
Yeah, the music said they out there. Yeah.
Hey there, good folk down in the lounge over there. It's like they call it the listening lounge. Hey there, Miss Jalen. Hey, there's Zahara. How you folks doing? We'll drop the little bit link a little bit later on, folks. If one of y'all want to come up and have a little conversation about what we're going to talk about tonight, as you see it, you know. Using the term LNR got a few people stirred up, but y'all know what we're gonna do, right? A little bit later on in the show.
Gotta do it.
You gotta do what I gotta do. All right, you get out of line. Listen, like I said, no one is above reproach, not even myself, folks. If I put something out there that somebody can say, hey, Mr. Music, you was dead wrong on this, I don't mind being corrected. I don't mind being wrong. And this is what I'm going to point out about on the left hand side, Anton Daniels. You see at the top of the screen where he says, the kid pretty much says fate has been sealed. The middle part, he says something about, the folks took the GoFundMe money and bought a house and a car. And at the bottom over there, this was just earlier today. No retraction for being 100% wrong about what he put out there.
Mm.
No, nothing at all that says, I was wrong about what I said about the folks, but instead it turned into an absolute clown show of I'm so pretty and what his folks was thinking about how the pops was dressed or what the mom had to say or whatever instead of confronting the facts. So this is what we're going to talk about towards the end of the show or towards the middle after we get through with Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? Bootleg Rick Ross. That's what I didn't say it, but there it is on the screen. There it is. But look, the stock market, I call it the snake market. The stock market plummeted last week sometime, right? It hit an all-time low since 2020 in the pandemic, right? A whole lot of people lost a whole lot of money.
Yes.
But in the meantime, we got to look at who was affected by these this so-called trade war Donald Trump had imposed, because that's what actually drove the stock market down. Folks wasn't sure about what was good. China and all these other different countries, they did the one up on you. Okay, you want to do some tariffs and all that, we're gonna put our own tariffs on you, or we're gonna stop trading with you. So it caused the stock market to panic. Now, here's where the tricky part comes in. Donald Trump came back and backed up from the tariffs and gave it a 90-day reprieve, right?
Yes.
Stock market was at an all-time high. Just for a little while. Just long enough for some of his friends that lost plenty of money, or some of those friends that he might have tipped off. If y'all don't know where I'm going with this, it's called insider trading.
Cough, cough.
Right. Allegedly. I got to use that word. But if I do remember, this is what Martha Stewart went to jail for.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, that's what she went to jail for. She said MGT looks like Hulk Hogan without a mustache. You ain't too far from the truth. I'm just saying, listen, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just reporting what they say down in the chat room. Okay. But anyway, Char, I don't know what you know about this, but wouldn't you call that, if you was close to someone that they know by saying something was going to drive the market up, and they were saying, and then they came out on their Twitter account or their X account or whatever True Social account and say, hey, for all of you folks that I'm fitting, you might want to go ahead and buy up tomorrow. Isn't that insider trading?
Yeah. It's done differently, but yes. because you're hinting, you're telling people, huh? Excuse me,
Right.
I know something gonna happen, so hey, psst,
Right.
get yourself together.
You might want to get your coins together and purchase up. Now, the thing about Marjorie Taylor Greene, folks, let me say something about her. Before she came into Congress, she was making about close to 70,000 a year.
Yeah, it's about average.
Right, right. For where and for the area that she lives in, that part of the world that she lives in, that's the medium income. They most of the folks around there is to do, whether you like it or not, is well-to-do rich folks. They got old money up there. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Okay, so she was a part of her family business. The folks left her business, and they got started. Her and the husband built up a construction business. Okay, but still, at best, she was making 750 grand a year. How, within 3 years, 4 years of her being in Congress, she now is amassing over a salary, a net worth of over 2 to 3 million a year? How is that? You might explain that. Is the salary for the Congress that good?
She have got a nice scratch off. That's what happened. Yeah, that's it.
Right. So I wonder why no one is questioning it. I see them. They question Fonnie Willis about her and the guy that was doing. They called it buying lunches and dinners. They called that. Why no one's talking about this? Why no one's talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene and this possible insider trading deal that she's with? Is why no one's asking her does she amass that much wealth in such a short time?
Because they all doing it. They all doing it. So hey, no sense pointing it out.
Uh, uh, Right, but you can look at it. That's the norm for all the sycophants, all the folks that's been hanging around Donald Trump. Their wealth has quadrupled in the last couple of years. Hey, Lana, how you doing? Good to see you, Lana. Love, great to see you down in the listening lounge. Thank you for dropping in. But again, why no one's questioning this? They're talking about Letitia James. They're talking about the mayor of Baltimore at one time. Their question is, they're always trying to say that black women or black men are involved in some kind of nefarious activity. Why nobody's questioning this? Lauren, why nobody's questioning Lauren Boebert's wealth? Where's she getting her money from? Well, fortunately for us, someone did. Let's see, Shar, before we get to our first clip, you want to add anything to this?
No, I'm ready to see what's going on.
All right, folks. This is from again. I've been following this cat since the beginning. If I don't know how if he watches my stuff or not, but I'm one of them. What they call him, one of them day ones. I've been following him since he had like 300 followers. Brian Taylor Cohen. He's quite got a huge following now. He's quite the voice in the political arena. So if you folks don't follow him, I would suggest that you go over and take a look at his content. I would think that you probably would want to follow him after seeing some of the stuff that he talks about. But anyway, folks, here he is explaining Marjorie Taylor Greene, and what she's involved in this insider trading scandal. Let's go.
Per Business Insider, in the hours before President Donald Trump announced a 90-day partial pause on a slew of new tariffs on foreign goods, he declared on social media that it was a great time to buy. One of his loudest allies in Congress had already gotten the message. According to a disclosure made public on Monday, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene plunged somewhere between $21,000 and $315,000 into the stock market on April 8th and April 9th, investing in 17 different companies including Apple, Elon Musk's Tesla, Nvidia, and Palantir.
Okay, folks, let me just say something. The reason why I mentioned Marjorie Taylor Greene's wealth at the beginning of this conversation was because not everybody in the district that she represents in the 14th congressional district in Georgia, not everybody has that kind of disposable income. But she says she is for the people. Before Donald Trump said this on social, announced this on Truth Social as a good time to buy, Marjorie Taylor Greene already had bought some stock, allegedly. How did she know to go and buy 17 of these different stocks that all support Donald Trump, that all stood to gain several millions of dollars? How did she know? Let's go.
Trump's tariff pause announcement sent markets soaring on April 9th, and anyone who purchased stocks in the final hours or days before Trump's announcement would have seen significant gains. Now, Greene was asked for a response to the allegation and responded that she signed a fiduciary agreement to allow my financial advisor to control my investments. Quote, all of my investments are reported with full transparency. Of course, I suppose the legitimacy of that claim depends on whether you believe that she had zero contact with her financial advisor, which may be true, and it was just lucky and coincidental that a member of Congress's financial advisor happened to time the market exactly right in the middle of an economic collapse that virtually nobody else was able to see. Or, of course, the flip side is that, well, she got a heads up and benefited accordingly. I can't.
Now, Charles, let me ask you, which one is more likely to be believable? That this guy, her financial advisor, was just absolutely on point.
All his clients would have the same lick, as you want to call it.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So, again, maybe we're missing something, but I'm gonna go with the latter half and say somebody tipped her off. You might want to buy this kind of stock right here, especially 17 of them, and quite specific about which stock to buy.
Okay, and so in the amount, come on,
And the amount.
something you never heard of? Get out of here! Get out of here!
Now, listen, we've all heard Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm going to start calling her MGT, just to shorten it many times I got to say her name. But we've all seen MGT talk. We've heard her talk about Jewish space lasers. We've heard her talk about the California fires. We've heard her tell reporters to fuck off. Does she seem like this is a woman that studied the stock market at any point in time in her life?
No, sound like she studied maybe the pool hall.
Okay. Again, since Charcy, that's the point. You're nice, but I'm not nice like you. She sounds like a trailer park tramp.
Well, you just went a step further, didn't you? Okay.
And y'all know what I'm talking about. Them trailer park tramps, just like they say ghetto. Just like they can say urban and refer to only black people. When I say trailer park tramp, you know I'm only referring to a certain sector of white women. Trailer park tramp. They even call them that. They call themselves that. That's where the name originated from. Oh, girl, you just a trailer park tramp. Bitch, no, I ain't.
Dang.
But anyway, folks, she's not. Listen, is she a dumb woman? No, she's not. But is she a very smart woman? No, she's not. No, she is absolutely not. But let's continue.
Say one way or the other, but perhaps those watching might feel differently. And by the way, isn't it interesting how these Republicans like Marjorie Taylor Greene frame themselves as these working class champions, all the while watching their net worths undergo meteoric increases while they're in office? Estimates suggest that Greene is worth somewhere between $7 and $36 million. How many people in Greene's district do you think see that kind of money? How many of them felt
between $7 and $36 million? Where she came from, she was making $750,000 tops a year. Nobody asked that question. Girl, how you made all that money? Wouldn't you want to know, Shar?
I would like to know, why do we know? She tell the world?
Okay, no, she didn't tell the world, folks. Those what do you call it? Those what do you call them? Them intrusive reporters.
Oh.
they told us, wait a minute, she ain't as broke as she claimed, folks. Look over here.
Uh-oh.
Right. 750K ain't nothing to sneeze at, though. You're right, especially for that area that she lives in. Okay, because she was, came from a well-to-do family up in the area. If you know that part of Georgia to where she grew up at, the houses up there ain't cheap. So let's go.
Financially secure enough to drop between $21,000 and $315,000 into the market in the middle of an economic collapse. Take all the time you need with that one. Now, AOC had weighed in on this issue a few days ago, perhaps referencing Greene herself when she wrote, "Any member of Congress who purchased stocks in the last 48 hours should probably disclose that now. I've been hearing some interesting chatter on the floor. Disclosure deadline is May 15th. We're about to learn a few things. It's time to ban insider trading in Congress." Now, the benefit for Greene and the rest of this administration is that there will be no investigation into her actions at the hands of Trump's DOJ, Trump's FBI, and Trump's SEC. But there are two avenues for potential investigation or prosecution. The first one, only with investigative power, is the House Ethics Committee, as campaign finance expert Joe Birkenstock explains here in a recent interview.
The ethics committees have authority over people that are in the body, so you can get fired, you can lose your job, to some extent lose your career. That's rare.
Or
it takes
in the
a
case
lot.
in the case of today's Republican Party, just get promoted up to Attorney General or something. Like, you get a cabinet position out of this.
Sure. So, just one counterpoint, though, right? The ethics committees are unique in Congress in that they really are bipartisan. There are equal numbers of Republicans and Democrats on each committee, regardless of who holds the majority in the body. And a lot of people point back to the Matt Gaetz matter as one that, despite his role in the Republican Party, despite a lot of reasons Republicans might have had strategically to want to keep him in that seat, ultimately that investigation did result in his departure from the House after years and in a very private way, right? I'm not suggesting that means it's a really satisfying result, but there's more than zero exposure to members of the House or the Senate as a matter of those ethics processes. On the executive branch side, in a criminal sense, I completely agree. You need a U.S. attorney that's willing to prosecute. You need a Securities and Exchange Commission that's willing to investigate. And I certainly remain to be convinced that that's going to be done on a really even-handed basis going forward.
And I know you may be thinking,
what you think the chances of that happening, Shar? I'll say 2, slim and none.
Slim Shady. That's not going to happen. That's just the bottom line, because that's how they earn their money.
Exactly.
That's what they do.
Exactly. And Trump controls the DOJ, so he pretty much can tell the DOJ, no, don't bring up charges on it. Trump controls a lot of the House Republicans. He, of course, damn near all the House Republicans. There's only been a few of them that stepped away from some of the stunts that Trump has done. Another thing about Marjorie Taylor Greene, folks, during the last Congress, she was stripped of all her committee assignments. So pretty much, as they say, she was a lame duck in Congress for at least 3.5 years. How did she get reelected?
Okay.
What did she do before that? Go look up Marjorie Taylor Greene's record and see actually what kind of bills she introduced in Congress while she was under whatchamacallit. The bills always had to do with absolutely nothing. She might as well said she was using the as a GoFundMe. But Shar, you remember the movie? It wasn't one of the popular Eddie Murphy movies, but it was called The Distinguished Gentleman. You remember that movie?
Yes, I need to watch that again. It was beautiful.
Listen, isn't that movie, The Distinguished Gentleman, tells us exactly what's going on in Congress right now. If you're on the right committee, you can make $1 million, son. You don't want to be on that committee. Ain't no money in that committee. What you want to do is get on the House Ways and Means Committee, boy.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. They say life don't imitate art. I beg to differ.
Okay.
Here we go, folks.
Look, if we're relying on House members to hold other House members accountable, doesn't exactly inspire confidence. But there is another avenue besides that, as Elizabeth Warren explains here.
Think of it this way. Here's Donald Trump out there saying all kinds of stuff. He drives the market way down, goes totally into the toilet, gets flushed, moves through the pipes, and then he changes the whole thing and it shoots way back up.
Right.
Something happens in between those 2 points. And that is right before he makes those announcements that make the market say, yay, fabulous, he's not as crazy as we thought. A bunch of people buy shares of stock, and they buy what are called calls so that they can leverage and buy even more shares of stock on very little money. The SEC ordinarily would just stop and investigate. They say, whoa, is this either insider trading, that is, a few people were tipped off about what was going on, or is it just straight up market manipulation, even if it happens out in public? The SEC would ordinarily.
Again, folks, again, another case of life imitating art. Remember the movie, another Eddie Murphy movie, since we all, where comedy is actual and they're factual. Remember Trading Places? What did they do at the end? The Dukes was trying to corner the frozen market. All they needed to do was insert a fake crop report. Right or wrong?
Yeah.
You're within the right hands, folks. Tell me I'm wrong.
Do that, but this is now Donald Trump's SEC.
Right.
So that's the real problem we've got here. But let me offer one more thought. Congress doesn't have that kind of access. And yeah, in theory, we could subpoena and so on, but that would take a majority and we're back at the same, right? Just back at the same dead end with Republicans. Doesn't let them off the hook, but it just says, can we keep looking for something that might be more effective? State attorneys general have the same opportunity to investigate, dig in, get what the facts are. So, for example, Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York, which has jurisdiction over the stock market and the trading that happens in New York, might decide she would take a look at this.
Now, isn't that coincidence that yesterday, Shara, I know you're busy yesterday, but I don't know what part of the show that you caught yesterday, but I did a piece on Letitia James and the fabulous speech that she gave. And isn't it funny how all of a sudden somebody wants to put out some false charges saying that this woman was illegally buying houses somewhere, that she inflated some properties that she bought, that she says she wasn't living in the place that she was living all this time, to where she was going after Trump. Why that never came out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very interesting.
Don't you find that strange?
Very.
Right. It's just, to me, it's just common sense. I'm not but it's just common sense to me. She was the focal point of Donald Trump's anguish about going back and forth to court. They found Donald Trump and his businesses liable, that they literally was going to strip him down of everything he had. So if she was living foul during that point in time, as they say they were, because this was like in 2018, 2019, 2020, and all this other stuff, why didn't they bring that up during 2023 and 2022 when Letitia James was hot on Trump's ass? I'm just saying. Makes sense? Right. Let's continue.
And in fact, Joe Birkenstock reiterated Warren's claims. What about enforcement action at the states? Because A, these people aren't under, the jurisdiction of the federal government. They're not guided by what Donald Trump, by any edicts that Donald Trump says down. And B, pardon power wouldn't apply to crimes that were committed at the state level.
Yeah, all correct. I mean, it is complicated. It's not to say that it's easy to enforce this kind of stuff through a state avenue. There are state statutes against fraud. There are state causes of action that a state attorney general could investigate. They will ultimately get into zones around preemption of federal law, right, under the Supremacy Clause Federal law is the supreme law of the land.
Right.
But there's a long body of law that recognizes states still have a lot of latitude to enforce their own laws, as long as it's not directly conflicting with the outcome under federal law.
And
Now, if you know anything again about Marjorie Taylor Greene, folks, she's always screaming states' rights. So I wonder, is it going to be the states' rights that Georgia, if they find out that actual and factual that she was under insider trading, how will the state of Georgia handle that? What say you, Shar? Because she's one of those that's always hollering, especially when it comes to gun rights. It should be taken back to the states. Okay, if the states find out that the state of Georgia finds out, or the state of wherever you did these insider traders at, or wherever you did the transaction at, finds out that you were tipped off. If that state brings charges against you, how would the federal government be involved in that? According to Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh, she don't want none of that.
Right.
You don't want any of that. If anything, if they kind of press her to try to give statements or whatever, she's going to start pointing the finger and start talking about something else, the weather or something. She'll make up something.
Right. Now, Zahara, you brought up Marjorie Taylor Greene's husband. There's a video that was floating around to where he saw two Muslim girls. I guess they were in a parking garage or something like that. And, I guess it was that time of the day, excuse me, that the folks of Muslim faith, they face to the east, and, they put their child out, or their little mat out, and they do their afternoon prayer. So I guess Marjorie Taylor Greene's husband saw that, and he accosted the two young ladies. Wonder nobody talk about that either, huh? Told them to go back to their country. Nobody wants to see that. These were two young girls. They're probably I would say no more than 19, 20 years old. But they had they had their Muslim garb on.
So would you say he's from the trailer too?
Yeah, he from the trailer, definitely from the trailer park tramp. Listen, just because you got money, that don't mean you're not trailer park tramp. You can take, as they say, just because you got money, that don't mean you're still not ghetto. The same way works there. Marjorie Taylor Greene, if you live in the South, if you saw her walking down the street, you would consider her as one of them beach blonde, bad bodies, trailer park tramps. You would. You would. You absolutely would. And then again, like Jasmine Crockett said, there's some folks that don't like Jasmine Crockett's approach to how she combats, or how she falls back and talks about Trump. But, facts is facts. They don't mind talking about her. Let's continue. Let's finish this out here.
And are there statutes that are different enough that they couldn't be that the federal government couldn't come in and basically Bigfoot the states by saying no, supremacy clause applies, we're going to prosecute this, or not prosecute this?
Yeah, in one word, yes. I mean, again, this question of preemption obviously is one that exists across the entirety of the policy zone, right? It's not limited to securities enforcement or anything else. And there is a long body of law that explains, and it states in particular, I mean, I do have some firsthand experience with preemption of the Federal Election Campaign Act, for example. States that enforce their own campaign finance laws typically do not acknowledge preemption of federal law until the Supreme Court issues a final mandate after literally every avenue of appeal has been exhausted. So it doesn't lend itself to a narrow yes or no answer. In terms of, can they investigate? Do they have the authority to even start looking under some of these rocks? The answer is definitely yes.
So look, whether or not Greene is investigated or prosecuted is obviously another matter entirely. But I think the more pertinent question right now, in this moment, is this. Do you want people in office whose goal is to enrich themselves at your expense? When the market was crashing and your 401ks were getting gutted, none of us had access to privileged information. None of us got rich off the backs of the poor or the working class. I am tired of watching the privileged operate by a different set of rules, and I'm even more tired of watching the privileged pretend that they're not privileged while they continue to fuck over everybody else. Marjorie Taylor Greene, worth millions of dollars and just a little bit richer after this week, is the same as Trump and Elon Musk, both billionaires, all of whom are exploiting our government to make themselves much, much richer, knowing that they control the very people who would be tasked with regulating them. This is corruption as overt as you could possibly find. The Republicans will run for office aligning themselves with the little guy who's getting screwed over, when in reality, they are the ones screwing over the little guy themselves.
Again, folks, make sure you go over and check out Brian Taylor Cohen. Check out his podcast. He does No Lie, and he also has featured a new show. There's always some great guests on the show. He has politicians on the show. He has expert folks that give their expert, sometimes biased or unbiased opinion. The last time I saw him, he was up against the young lady, Tommy Lahren or whatever, ripped her to shreds.
Okay.
Ripped her to literal shreds on the same issues again of immigration and all these other things like that. So y'all make sure y'all stop in. If you leave a comment, tell them DJ Music sent you. All right. So, but anyway, folks, like he said in the end, right there at the end, it's absolutely true, because you go outside of the little community that Marjorie Taylor Greene actually grew up in, and you'll see exactly what he's talking about. The folks that live in her district could not afford to do what she did, especially during this time when I guarantee you, they would much rather, they were talking about, damn, eggs cost this much, damn. In that area out there, they like to eat, as they say, they like to eat the pig, everything from the rooter to the tutor. So all of that is expensive over there. So I don't think they had money to invest in the stock market in 17 different stocks to where they could come up from making 750K, which ain't, like Zahara said, nothing to sneeze at. But your net worth is damn near triple, quadruple that amount. Hard to believe you weren't tipped off, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah, you trust to spend that much money or invest that much money into something that you know nothing of.
Come
on.
Are you gonna do that, Shore?
No.
No, I'm not. No, I'm gonna try one.
You got
if that
5
works.
on it.
Right. I got 5 on it. I'm gonna try one if that worked. If that worked, let me come back in a month. If that worked.
Right. Then I put 20 on it.
Right,
I'll try.
20 on it. Right. But again, folks, let's move on to our next thing here, Shar. Again, yesterday, folks, if you don't know, there was another tragic shooting at one of our esteemed colleges, Florida State, again, which is near and dear to me because my sister attended that. That's our alma mater. So let's do a quick update on the Florida State shooting. Sure, I don't know if you have been kept up with that, but something has got to be done about the laws in this and the gun laws in this state. It's no longer a case of the Second Amendment, is it?
No. It makes me so sad. I heard about it. I just couldn't, get in all the details. It just made me too sad.
Yeah, and actually it is. You send your kid to school or you send your kid off to college thinking that everything's going to be all right. You're waiting to hear from them, and the next time you hear about something about them, it's like, oh my goodness. And you as a parent, again, another part of what we'll cover a little bit later on. I understand that my heart goes out to the parents that lost both their children. One could possibly end up in jail for the rest of his life, and the other one, unfortunately, he got laid to rest this week. So there's no winners in that. But in a case like this, that's going on here, the signs, as they say, kind of was there, but because we now found out that he was the son of a police. Someone that's been affiliated with the police and been around the police for some folks would thought this was something that he wouldn't do. But anyway, folks, let's take a listen to that HT Baldwin. Great show last night, my man, folks. If you on Thursday nights, make sure you check out HT Baldwin on Classic R&B Jams. He's bring down the house with the house music, the soulful house mix from 11 to 1 a.m. on Thursday evenings. Y'all check him out. The link is down in the description over there. If you don't mind, check out the great show. But let's go. Let's move on here. Okay.
Tonight.
All right, we begin with that tragedy there on the campus of Florida State University, where so many are still just in mourning in all of this. Good evening. I'm Darlene Jones.
And I'm Martha Sagowski. We have crews for you in Tallahassee and in Orlando. We are speaking to the students. We've actually been speaking to a victim as well, and we're learning more about the suspected shooter. We're going to start right now, though, with Channel 9 anchor Greg Wormuth. And Greg, you were there as students return to get their belongings on that campus.
This is Legacy Walk, Martha, and I was here this morning. They were allowed to go back in. Those who were here when it happened between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2, it was difficult. Since then, we've also watched this growing memorial get larger and larger. Just moments ago, I got off the phone with another Publix, and all the Publix in the area are out of flowers, most of them here. Also happening right at this moment, not as many folks behind me, and there is a good reason. About a half a mile from where I'm standing, a 15-minute walk or so at Doak Campbell Stadium, where students typically gather for a football game, for tailgating. They are gathering for a vigil, an emotional time, and it's part of the healing process, something that shouldn't be a part of anyone's college experience, but unfortunately in this day and time it is. And as you mentioned, I talked this morning with some of the folks who were here when it happened. The flowers and balloons continue to be placed here at Legacy Walk. Small things with a big impact.
Everyone's being so open and supportive in such a difficult time. And I don't know, there's like the flowers over there that people are leaving, like Publix is sold out of flowers, and there's a vigil tonight. I think the community has done a really good job coming together in such a difficult and such a scary time. Obviously things are still like unclear where we're gonna go from here.
For now, it's about remembering those who lost their lives, those still recovering from the physical wounds, and holding each other up as they all deal with the emotional trauma.
I think it's definitely a sign for change because 2 lives and multiple injuries shouldn't have occurred yesterday. So it's just a little heartbreaking to see that happen to your campus. You never really think it'll happen to you, but apparently it still can.
Her roommate Iris saw and heard everything. She talked with me and was clearly still in shock after watching someone who was also at work not able to hide from the gunman's bullets. What did you hear?
It was like, it would be like 3 shots, then like it would stop, and there'd be 3 more shots. And it just continued until it was just all silent. All you could hear was the music.
Let me ask you something. What do you do, folks? What do you do? How do you recover from something that you see like that? What do you do when you know that there's absolutely nothing you do? You gotta stay quiet, or the gunman might turn on you. But what do you do when you look down and you see someone being chased? Next thing you know, they're no longer with you. You can't erase that memory. These are still children. Although they're in college, these are still children. Look at the look on her face right now. Again, because someone got up and absolutely right on this comment right here, H.T. Baldwin. How is it that we place more value, and I'm kind of paraphrasing because we do, on the Second Amendment and the right to own guns than it is that our children? Every week now, since the Columbine, way back in the 90s, when this first started happening, it's a common theme. It is a common theme now. Since Dylan Klebold and that other kid walked through that school and gunned down his classmates, folks think that's the place to be, to do something like this. I don't know. Let's continue.
That was playing, and it was really scary. And then we've heard the cops clear our floor.
Yeah, the sound of gunfire, then the sound of music that typically is playing inside that student union. There is not only this makeshift memorial, there's also one at the steps not far from me, the student union just to my right, and then around the corner where I have watched grief counselors walk in with some of the students and escort them because maybe they are just too emotional or it's part of the healing process. There is another memorial, and Channel 9's Sabrina Majori is standing by live there, and Sabrina has the latest on the victims who survived this. And Sabrina, thankfully, there's a level 2 trauma center about 3 miles from the campus.
And Greg, luckily that center is there. They were able to quickly treat many patients. And you can see here, this memorial behind me is one of the ones that you mentioned. Just another one where these flowers are popping up as students come to grieve here. We're learning from the hospital that 2 people are expected to be released as early as tonight. In the moments after gunshots were fired at FSU, first responders rushed to the scene. Ambulances took the wounded from the student union 3 miles away to Tallahassee Memorial Hospital.
We are communicating right away with law enforcement and EMS. The biggest part of this is you don't know how many patients you're going to receive.
These team of doctors worked quickly to treat 5 victims of the shooting and the shooting suspect 2. Victims were shot in the face, chest, and abdomen. These doctors say all 6 people are expected to make a full recovery.
There's the moment of shock, but all were able to talk to us, kind of give us.
Now, folks, I wanted that part to play just for a little bit to understand. Now, this is a part of how we normally have to live. Now, the hospitals now have to have a separate unit set up to deal with this type trauma. This is a part of the school now, where the school has to have drills to where active shooter drills. Now, this didn't go on in the 80s, in the 90s, and until then. But this is now of how we live. We can, like H.T. Baldwin said, we're so quick to defend the Second Amendment to where you got to have a gun to defend yourself. Nothing about that gun that he had to gun down these 7 people says that it should have been a gun to defend yourself with. That is a weapon of war. That is a weapon of mass destruction. It is designed for one reason and one reason only: to kill someone. Sure.
I agree with you. We have here in Chicago, which they're talking about removing them, and some of them schools have removed police from being active in the schools. But what do you do? Because now, you've been having metal detectors for maybe the last decade. And because you're concerned of kids bringing weapons. So it's terrible. We all need to be responsible of watching the children, what's going on with them, whether they're, whatever acting out, because they're acting out for some reason. And if it goes unnoticed or not, tended to, then it's just the person more than likely going to get more aggressive and do something like this. So,
right. Well, listen, let me ask you. It used to be a point in time to where people would try and pinpoint it, says, well, there's always a mental health issue, or there must be something wrong in the family. What say to you to that? It's always a matter of a mental health issue. What say to you to that, Sure?
No, not always. Sometimes it's just, I've heard so many stories. Sometimes it's just attention. Sometimes it's jealousy. It's just so many different things. And they may want to sum it up as mental illness or something like that, but hey, it's life. It's called life. You get rejected. You get disappointed. You get people are busy. They don't have time to give you all the attention you need and hold your hand and clean your boo-boo. It's just life.
Right, because now people are, they like to leave what they consider now a manifesto behind, and somewhere in the manifesto, dare I use the word, they say they were rejected by dare I say a girl, or they felt that they didn't fit in with the crowd or whatever, and this is why they're doing what they're doing. So how, if you could write out this manifesto to think that, how do you think that uh, when it comes to things like this, the first thing they want to rule to is a mental health issue?
Well, it took some planning, so it's not that mental.
Right. Mental health means you're not thinking rationally. Am I correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a lot of time they use it to cover for the palm color people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's just where
Right.
they brought it up.
You got to call it for what it is, right?
Yeah.
Right. And now, speaking of the palm colored people, Sharon, as you walk right into our next thing, of course, in the news right now is the Carmelo Anthony, that where he, whether you folks want to say it's self defense or not, that he unalived a young kid by the name of Austin. Okay. Now, before the parents spoke out, there was a certain narrative that was pushed around by, as you say, the palm colored folks, as well as some of the people that we're going to talk about, namely Anton Daniels.
Hmm.
Now, the I don't know if you heard this or not, but the rumor was that the money that they raised for the defense fund, the GoFundMe, that the after he got out of jail, the parents cashed in that. They bought them a new house and a Cadillac Escalade. That's what was reported. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay, so if that's the case, um, honestly, would we be surprised? No, because
Right,
typically that's what most of us. I'm gonna say most of us do. So
right,
now what?
right. But once you find out that what your assumption was wrong, shouldn't you do a retraction of what you find out to be incorrect, instead of having a, well, let's start with this. This is what people thought about their parents. This is why the parents had to speak out yesterday. Okay, let's listen to this first.
High school track meet, and during an altercation, a student again reportedly came up, told him to get out of his seat, and then we either went to shove him or put his hand on him, and so Carmelo allegedly stood up and then stabbed the student in the heart, who then bled out and died. Now, I seem to remember that when I would get in fights in high school, that usually you didn't bring a knife. But now there's a little bit more controversy, because after Carmelo's bail was dropped down from $1 million to $250,000, which was an outrage, the Carmelo family, the Anthony family, again, according to The Sun, purchased a Cadillac Escalade worth $150,000 and has begun renting a $900,000 home after receiving $500,000 in.
Okay, first thing he said, according to The Sun. When did you talk to The Sun? Did you hear that, Sean?
Yeah, I heard.
Right, according to The Sun. When did you have an interview with The Sun?
He likes that paper or whatever it's called now. I don't even know. I know it used to be printed in the newsstand. I just realized they moved all this stuff
right,
in the
the
grocery
national.
store.
Well, you talk about the National Enquirer and stuff like that.
Yeah, they used to have that stuff. I just
Yeah,
noticed most of that stuff gone now.
right, the salacious newspaper. So the internet is taking that over. You can't get it at the checkout counter now. You can get it on TikTok and Instagram or YouTube.
I see. Okay.
Right. So that was the narrative that was put out, because this guy right here that you see on the screen, he has a huge following, folks. So I think I'm not sure how many. I think this had 97K views. So before this, to me, this and other videos like this is what forced the family to come out and speak. Because before this, They were pretty quiet, and to me, like I normally say, even the sunshine on a dog ass that you hold it up high enough, and you're gonna hear Anton Daniels say that. So to say I completely disagree with him would be wrong. But he gonna say some shit later on that you just heard here. So
Okay.
where's your retracted statement there, my man? When
Ain't
the
no views in that.
Right, ain't no views in that. You took the words out my mouth, Sean. Ain't no views in that. Ain't no views in saying I'm wrong. Right, right. No views in that. But this is what he says, folks.
Donations on sites like GoFundMe for his defense, his legal defense. Guys, bit of advice, just a bit of optics advice. If you claim that there was an individual who was innocent, he was acting in self-defense, maybe don't go out immediately and just go buy the brand new car in the house with the legal defense money. Doesn't look good.
Okay, this is what all these folks heard, and pretty much this is what Anton Daniels will say later on too. Before, because the first clip is 17 minutes long that we're going to talk about Anton, and you're going to hear him pretty much repeat this in his own kind of way after he finished talking about himself a little bit. Tell you to support his channel, Money Mondays. Ain't making no money Mondays or whatever you want to call it. But this is the part of what I'm saying, folks. You know, Anton Daniels has a pretty good sized following. The majority of people that follow Anton Daniels that agree with him are not palm colored folks. Okay, folks that look like me and you, Shar. And they follow what Anton Daniels says. When Anton Daniels said these folks bought a car and a house, do you think anybody in his community checked him and said, "No, you're wrong about that"?
Well, those who knew, they weren't going to say anything.
Right, that's the point.
Mm-hmm.
That is the point. And you're right there, HT. When they live in an upscale community, she was a stay-at-home mama. All the prerequisites of what Anton Daniels describes as the perfect woman. Am I wrong, Shar?
No.
The stay-home woman that educates the kids. The one I go out, everything is done, cook, clean. All you there is what? Pretty much to have babies and support me in my endeavors. Is that what Karmelo Anthony mother is what he's describing?
That's a description.
Right. Anybody care to put it 1 or 2, like they say, put a 1 or 2 in the chat room. 1 if you agree, 2 if you disagree.
You know why I dislike that. I mean, continue.
Right, that's why I did it. I know. Put a 1 or 2 in the chat room. But again, folks, put a 1 or 2 in the chat room. No, but this is what he's talking about. We gonna get to your boy here, but you know, misinformation is what drives it. So when I hear people exactly, HT Ball, when the twins' mother was the single mother, but you don't hear the folks like Anton Daniels talk about that. They're trying to find a way to attack this family, and that's what we're going to talk about. In his last 2 videos, that's exactly what he did. Him and his followers tried to figure out a way to attack the family, like they were wrong for protecting their child, right, wrong, or indifferent. They were wrong for calling out the people like, "Hey, we didn't do this. My son did it. Y'all stop threatening my other children. My husband had to stop working, and he had to stop doing this. We had to change this. We had to change this because of the death threats we was getting." Anton, where is your "I'm sorry, I was wrong" about what y'all did with the money? Sure.
He's gone radio silence. Continue.
Okay. All right. Let's what's he got here first? Let's go to the first one here. Let me move this off the screen here. All right. Let me get rid of this. All right. Let me get rid of this. I was gonna do 2 things on Marjorie Taylor Greene, but no need to. believe that where it's at. Let me get rid of this. Yeah. All right. Let me remove this. Let me put your boy on the screen. Y'all ready for this? Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado.
Last 24 hours, he actually made bond. Additionally, over $400,000 has been raised for his defense, his legal defense. So let me give you all a little bit of updates on what's going on with Mr. Anthony. I know the real Karmelo Anthony with a C, the basketball player. I know he like, man, why his parents name him after me? I know that the real Karmelo Anthony is a little bit bothered and upset. Like, man, what I got to do with this? Why my name in it? Because anytime you put Karmelo Anthony into Google, obviously his is now being knocked down to the second. And this Karmelo Anthony is going up to the first because this is the thing that everybody is talking about.
Well,
anyways, let's deep.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong there, Rick. But I think does Karmelo Anthony start the basketball player? Does he start his name with a K or a C?
I think it's different. It is different.
It's different.
If I'm not mistaken.
Right.
I don't even watch it. I just see it in the news at times.
I think he spelled his name Carmelo. This kid spells a K. So, I mean, yeah, it might be a similarity in name, but if I'm typing K, I don't think C gonna pop up next.
Well, he had to say it.
Yeah, so far. But no.
Dive into it, y'all.
Next, it has dropped to $250,000. Well, our colleague, Fox News multimedia reporter Sarah Allegre was inside the courtroom as this all went down. She joins me from Frisco, Texas, outside the courtroom live. And Sarah, thanks so much for being with us here. This story has garnered a lot of national attention. What more do we need to know?
Absolutely. And it's that national attention. It's played a big role when we're talking about the security and the safety of all parties, really, in this case. And that was something mentioned today. And you could see it, too, here just outside the Collin County Courthouse, inside the courtroom as well. There was a heightened security presence, additional law enforcement, at least more than usual. The judge even made it known that she had received several threatening phone calls ahead of the hearing and hasn't been under this kind of pressure, really, or seen a case reach this public scale in her 13 years of being on the bench. Another key thing that stood out a little bit earlier today was who took the witness stand.
Well, Sean, let me ask you. I know you live in the Chi, and no disrespect to where you live at, but they call it Chirac for a reason.
Yeah, it kind of stopped calling it that, but yeah,
right.
It was kind of rough at one time.
Right,
yes.
But so do you think if another one of those killings at that time that what they was calling Chirac, do you think would have got this much public attention? Why do you think this has garnered the nation's attention?
Because this is reversed.
Huh?
This is reversed blackface.
That did the unaliving, as they said, right? Yeah. Because if this was, as they say, Pookie and Ray Ray, if Pookie had poked Ray Ray and Ray Ray didn't make it, oh well.
Exactly, and then you would have these people looking for content, saying, "Well, what was he being? What was he being around for?
Right?
Why was he there? What did he say? What was he wearing? The foolishness."
Right. And I heard a few of the content creators saying that race has nothing to do with this case. Would you agree with that? I didn't get the question. I didn't get the question out yet. I didn't get the question out yet.
Because it's comical. It's very comical.
Race had nothing to do with this case. It has everything to do with this case. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm just making sure. Hey, come on, Anton.
We did hear from Karmelo Anthony's father, the suspect in this case, and we got more of an idea of his.
Okay. Speaking of fathers, Sean, let me ask you something. Another one of the heavy debates in the YouTube streets was the twins' father showed up at the press conference, and he was summarily asked to get on about the business. Yeah, would you agree? Because shout out there, Sel. Actually, I heard my man Sel. He asked this question, so I'll ask it now. And you folks can agree or disagree with it. Do you think the father of the twin that was unalived, do you think he was a distraction, or do you think he had the right to be at the Karmelo Anthony's parents' press conference? Do you think it was in poor taste?
Yeah, I don't even know all that part of the story.
Yeah. He showed up at the press conference, and they asked him to leave. To me, I think, did he have a right to be there? Yes. Do I think it was it could have, that wasn't the place to be? Yeah.
Very stressful.
Yeah,
I tell
would
that.
right. Would it have caused a distraction? I think it would have. Would it have caused what some people have looked at it as you're not being empathetic to the situation. I think you're there for publicity. So I wouldn't want to, this is not saying he was wrong for being there. I'm not saying right or wrong, but I'm saying either way, the optics you could see one side of him saying you shouldn't have been there, and the other side saying he had every right to be there. That's just me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Let's continue here.
Okay.
Son's character. He talked about Karmelo Anthony being a straight-A student, the captain of the football and track teams, and a church regular. Now, the defense says all that matters when it comes to bond. Also, that Anthony's not a flight risk and has strong community ties.
Bond, as the judge said, is not supposed to be an instrument of oppression. It's not supposed to keep people in jail. It's not supposed to punish. It's supposed to ensure that a person shows up to court, complies with all conditions, and it's supposed to keep the community safe. So this is a large and substantial bond, and the judge has, I think, rightly imposed reasonable conditions that will ensure both Karmelo and the Anthony family's safety, but also the safety of the community.
I don't have a problem with him being released out on bond so that he ultimately can prepare for and have a relative normal life until trial. Bond is not supposed to be a weapon against the people.
And again, this is, like I said, when even the sun shine on a dog ass, he hold it up high enough. This is where I agree with Anton Daniels, and I said this yesterday. Bond is not a tool to punish someone, folks. It's there to make sure that you show up.
Mm-hmm.
Some people will skip bond because they don't care what they have to lose. That's why you have bail bondsmen, or what do you call bounty hunters that go chase them fools down that skip on their bond.
I'm gonna try to be quiet because I just don't care for this. I know where this is going, and I'm just frustrated already. So let me be quiet.
Okay, what's this?
Waiting for the cooning to begin. I just.
Well, it's yeah. Well, again, Sal. I mean, you're right. Some folks say his bond wasn't excessive, and some folks said it was. It was standard, and the bond that the judge reduced it to, she felt that was good enough. But I think the bond earlier was what I forgot, $1 million or something like that, over $1 million, and that's what people thought it was being excessive because the same criteria that they used to reduce other folks' bond was the same criteria that the judge used to reduce his bond. That shouldn't have been that high. Even some of the experts said that his bond was too excessive, even at the price that it was still at, because number one, mainly he was a first-time offender. His age, his ability to skip town, He had none of the criteria that they would say that would make him a flight risk. Let's see this. Casey Allison bond was 1 million. Kyle Rittenhouse was 2 million. Yeah. Kyle Rittenhouse, and I know I'm getting off the subject here, and I'll drop the link in a little while, so if you want to come up and we can have this discussion about Kyle Rittenhouse. But his bond was set at 2 million. But in this case, me personally, and I don't think that his bond was excessive at 2 million, just based on what he did. And as we found out, Kyle Rittenhouse, could he have possibly had the means to become a flight risk? That's possibility. But in this case, we know that was one of the reasons why his bond was lowered, because he was not considered a flight risk. So again, what's correct for thee is correct for me, right? But let's continue here. Let's see what else Anton has to say.
Right? He does not need to be held in jail. Bond is supposed to be or it's assessed based off of your flight risk, based off of your ability to actually appear in court, all of that. So, I don't have any problem with him being able to get bond, because it is a tool, right? So now that you have this bond, it is the possibility of you showing up to court. It's a greater possibility of showing up to court because you don't want to lose your bond, right? And so I don't have no problem with that. If they drop the bond down to $250,000, which I believe he probably had to pay 10%, I don't know if they required him to pay 100% of it. I know that in most cases you had to pay 10% of your bond. I'm not really that big of a jailbird, so I don't know anything about that. But I don't see any problem with him going.
It has nothing to do.
It doesn't seem like he's
right. And the countdown was coming. It makes no difference. It happened to be a jailbird. It's absolutely that. You didn't have to try to throw shade. And this is the problem when I'm having with these folks that prop up folks like him. Listen, can you be articulate? Can you be smug at the same time? I think because Anton believes that he's one step above everyone else. And I've noticed one thing that as watching him, he act like because you may have a speech impairment or because you may not speak a word correctly, as he likes to call it, the King's English, there's something wrong with you. You are beneath his educational level. I beg to differ with you, sir. There's quite a whole lot of folks that's out there that are quite genius that has speech impairments or has a stutter problem. Probably a whole lot smarter than you. A whole lot. But I digress on that. Let's continue.
He's a flight risk. He doesn't live or exist in an environment where his parents is not going to ensure that, they get the best representation and he attends court and stuff like that. So I don't know why people are so bent out of shape at the fact that he got bond. He still has to stand trial. He still has to face the consequences of his actions, whether he's guilty or innocent. That remains to be seen. But bond is not that big of an issue. And why are people so mad that he had to meet bond conditions, that he was able to get out of jail, and now they can prepare for his trial? Because I do believe that everybody deserves to go through the process of innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. And that's what he has to face. Now, I personally don't believe that he's going to go scot-free. However, I do not have a problem with them giving him bond and bail and then he ultimately getting out so that they can prepare for a trial. Why is people so bent out of shape of that?
And again, that's right. That's what bond and bail was created for. So you wouldn't have to sit in jail until your trial. It depends on the crime that you did. The only other thing that I can say that you could go to jail for, and it's usually county jail, that you don't have a bond for, is child support. If you commit murder, chances are you're not going to get a bond, or your bond is going to be quite high. If you get a DUI, you can sometimes you get an OR bond, or you can get a bond that's going to be, you're going to have to pay something after you sit in the drunk tank for a little bit. But bond was created to keep people from sitting in jail rotting until their trial came up. Sure.
No comments.
Let's continue here, folks. So far, Anton, but again, it's not up to you what you believe in. The law is the law. It's not a question of whether I have a problem or you have a problem that this kid was able to make bond or bail. That's part of the legal system.
Anton, you is white. Well, BD, you can't talk. So you're one of the people that I had a conversation with about a couple weeks ago about your ability to read. You don't even know how. Your name is BD. You said Anton, you is white. It's Anton, you are white. A-R-E. And not just the letter R, A-R-E. So I'm not offended by illiterate people that can't read past the 3rd grade level. I'm not offended at that.
Again, this conversation is supposed to be about the plight of Karmelo Anthony, but yet now he's talking about someone's ability to read or not. You might not have liked what he typed in or how he typed it, but you damn sure understood it. And to me personally, I think I would have skipped that comment. Anybody who has BD in their name, now I'm not saying that. Sure.
No comment.
I think you needs to get some help. I think it's important for you to go get hooked on phonics. And I don't even think you have the ability to teach yourself how to read. I think you need a tutor. You need to re-enroll at your local church and then sit in with all of the little kids so that they can teach you your letters, your alphabet, how to count on your hands, your ABCs, and then how to enunciate your words correctly. All right. So listen, you got bigger problems to worry about whether or not you think that I'm white or not. You have bigger problems. Listen, BD,
now, again, Anton, let me ask you something. Why in the fuck would somebody think that you're white when they clearly can see you? Well, I'm not one to talk there. I don't have a list, but I've always looked at, when folks talk with their mouth open a lot, them teeth don't fit his head. I ain't one to gossip. Y'all take a look for yourself.
Have bigger problems on your plate. On your docket, the first thing that you got to do is you got to make sure that you brush your teeth in the morning. Pray for deliverance from the devil from keeping you from being able to read. Work on your stuttering, and then go and enroll in your local church. And don't worry about the kids laughing at you, big dog, because you trying to get something done. Even if the kids snicker at you and they go, look at him, look at that 40-year-old man that lives in his mother's basement still trying to learn how to read. Overcome that. You don't focus so much on where you at. Focus on where you going. We got to get you to the 4th grade, and this 5th grade, 6th grade.
This is your leader. This is a guy that y'all sit around and say, Money Monday's about that. He's sitting here reading another nigga telling him what he should look like. This is the guy that y'all send y'all kookadookers to, that y'all send your hard-earned money to. The Money Mondays. This is the guy that y'all taking advice from. This guy. That he's critiquing the looks of another man. No disrespect, but somebody that's trying to teach me financial advice won't be giving me fashion advice at the same time. That I ain't gonna. I can't do it. Why you got your little brother sweater on? That shit look kind of tight.
7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. And then hopefully you are a full adult.
Made the call, and so what's important is what's next. Frisco PD will be finishing up their investigation. They will submit the case to my office. We will review it and ultimately present it to a grand jury. And so that's what's next.
Anthony's accused of stabbing 17-year-old Austin Metcalf at a track meet between their schools. Witnesses say the two got into a fight over seating, that Metcalf pushed Anthony, and that's when Anthony pulled a knife from his bag and stabbed him in the heart. Metcalf died in his twin brother's arms. And court records.
Now, folks, if you listen to the surviving twin, you will know that either it was his brother that was actually the aggressor. If you really pay attention to what he said and pay attention with open ears and unbiased ears, you will hear the other twin brother clearly say that his brother grabbed his backpack from him, from Karmelo Anthony. Now, it depends on what side of the street that you want to sit on. Is that a reason for Karmelo Anthony to poke the kid like that? Who are we to determine that? That's up to a jury. But see him in the court of public opinion, like you see up in that left-hand corner there, Anton Daniel said that there's no way that he was going to get up out of this. But so far, we heard a little about Karmelo Anthony and his plight and more about what that nigga looked like. Somebody in his audience, or what he looked like. But this is who y'all pay attention to.
Records say Anthony admitted to the stabbing and asked officers if this could count as self-defense. And both Karmelo Anthony's parents, along with Austin Metcalf's parents, were both inside the courtroom earlier this morning. As you can imagine, both parties, both quiet and somber. Andrew?
So he is out. He is released. His parents has not necessarily put out a statement. They're not talking to the media. Smart.
Again, this is another point. That was one of them good days that his son, dog shined up, and that son got him again. So again, I agree with Anton here. So folks can't say, "Oh, you're just looking for a reason to disagree with him." No, actually, what I'm looking for is a reason to agree with him. And here's one of those reasons that I do agree with him. That the family should have kept quiet, but I understand now after watching them why they came out into the public eye, why they spoke up, because of the rumors that was pushed out about them. I can understand why they would come out of hiding. What about you, Shar? Could you see them coming out to defend themselves in their name and their children?
I can see that. Whether they decided to do it or have a spokesperson to do it, I can understand that, so they can get something out on record that they are aware of what's going on.
Right, and I agree wholeheartedly. So I would have maintained radio silence, but I understand why they didn't. Okay.
Give them a lot of credit for that. But I want to share something with you guys really quickly because this is important for us to talk about. And I was trying to deep dive a little bit more. You can't always get the details in, just looking at whatever it is that they say on the media because they're trying to hurry up and get the content out as fast as possible. But I was looking at it and I was looking at all of the details and where all of the money was going because they raised over $400,000, actually over $430,000 as of today, to make sure that they better understand exactly how they can fund all of his legal fees and everything like that, because I'm pretty sure that they'll be substantial. And so I pulled this up, and this is exactly how it went and how the money is being spent, okay? They say the family of the teen accused of stabbing a student athlete to death at a track meet plans to shell out on a new home.
Now, folks, I'll ask you, if you are a good journalist, would you make sure that that source that you just repeated that from was valid? What about you, Shar?
I would have, and also I would have more than one source to have more to discuss, not just go with one. But that's just me.
Exactly. So I don't know if anybody noticed it or not, but I noticed he completely moved away from the headline to where you could actually see where the newspaper where the headline came from. So the clip that I played earlier of the white guy, all these folks are affiliated. So the same people that he was talking about that used this clip, Anton used this clip as well. So they're both talking about the same thing. There's some newspaper somewhere reported that the Anthony family And as soon as they got a hold of that money, which this is another reason why they came out to clarify that we didn't get none of that money yet. And if we did, we already got a house. We already got money. We already living all right because my husband ain't broke. That's basically what she really wanted to say. We ain't broke like y'all think. But here's your boy Anton. This is what he got to say. Sure, you want to take a guess?
Oh, I already called this.
Mm.
I seen his name in the title. I already know.
Here we go.
And security to protect the alleged murderer after he was released from jail. Karmelo Anthony walked out of jail silently, surrounded by his family on Monday, who posted his $250,000 bond after a judge agreed to lower it from $1 million. Goes on to say that he is charged with fatally stabbing 17-year-old Austin Metcalf in the stands at a track meet on April 2nd. He is now on house arrest where he'll be required to wear an ankle monitor and stay inside of his parents' home. Over $420,000 has been donated to Anthony's family in an online fundraiser for the alleged killer after he reportedly faced racist threats following Metcalf's murder. Hey, BD, before I go into this a little bit more, are you jealous that I'm able to read the whole sentence without stuttering or getting into trouble? That I'm able to pronounce words that have more than...
Now, Anton, I got to ask you, why would you stop in the middle of your reporting to address BD?
Oh, boy.
You got to say that with a little bit. A lot of folks use that word masculinity. And sure, listen, I heard there was an argument. Of course, I would never say this, but there was a couple folks that was arguing the fact that if you said that you saw a woman that looked kind of masculine, that's not being disrespectful to the woman. That's being highly disrespectful, don't you think?
Yeah, she wouldn't like that.
Huh? Yeah, that chick over there, man, she looked masculine as fuck. Huh? Okay, I'm just saying. I don't know. Listen, I don't think. I'm trying not to comment on that HT ball.
I'm just suffering listening to him. But...
Right, it's hard to get past it, right?
Anything he's saying at this point.
I know you sound kind of irritated back there, Sharp, but unfortunately, we got another clip.
Hey,
Anton,
I'll be quiet.
Yeah, Anton don't seem like he's your favorite guy.
No, not in the least. Not someone to sit up with a darn Versace fake robe on with a million gym shoes behind them. Keep twirling around the watch that's on his wrist. Gonna talk about somebody that may have purchased some funds, something of substance, a house with some money they got. So I don't want to hear
on money. Oh, wait a minute. On Money Monday, you left that part out.
Okay.
See, I told y'all, I'm not nice like, as they say. I'm not nice like boss. She said it the nice way, but you're absolutely right though, Short. There's absolutely no way. If I was looking financial advice, I would come to this guy. Absolutely no way.
He got too much time on his hand. That's another clue right there.
Right. You got too much time on your hand to sit up here because listen, I originally today I wanted to do this live at 6 o'clock. I had a little internet problem, so I was thinking about maybe doing it as a what do you call it, as a pre-record. But I said, nah, I'll wait till later on. So all that time is being consumed by waiting to do the live stream or contemplating to do it. So if you got that much time on your hands, something wrong. If you that kind of guy that you say you are, right? You understand you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, time is money, money is time.
Right.
All that. You don't see Warren Buffett live streaming on 5 days a week and
what?
What's the other guy named Tony somebody? You don't see none of them folks live
Right,
streaming and
right,
got time like that. Nobody got
right,
time like that.
right. What's that the one podcaster you turned me on to? Pocket Watching with JT. They seem to do a lot of that, don't they?
That man be busy having scammers on Fridays, and he like,
Right,
yeah. So ain't nobody got
right.
time
But
for this.
but that's the reason why I mentioned him. He doesn't do it every day, right?
No, once a
Right.
week, and sometimes he can't do that. He's like,
Uh,
hey, I'm
Cause it,
busy.
why? Why say that again? Because he got what?
I'm busy. I got
Okay,
a business. I got family.
I ain't gonna say
I'm
it, but
busy. Got a
she
life.
she she said it the nice way, so I'll say it this way. I got shit to do.
That sums it up.
Let's go. Uh,
2 syllables. Do you know what 2 syllables are? I know people that see people that can read that's aggravated that they can't insult them and that they not feeling some type of way as a result of your insults are they upset when you start reading a little too fast and then you stop mid-sentence in order to give some context and then you can start right back off where I was and then start back reading again. It's crazy, ain't it?
Listen.
Yeah. Hey,
Don't
all of
listen. Hold
y'all
up. Don't break
that
your arm
they
patting
mad
yourself on
at,
the back.
just remember this. The only thing you got to do is not get upset at the insults. Don't reduce yourself to throwing doo-doo. Don't reduce yourself to throwing doo-doo. What does that mean? That is something that I came up with as I was growing up, right? And I've always told myself, don't throw doo-doo.
What the fuck? Did y'all hear that? That's something that he came up with coming up as a kid. Nigga, I'm older than you. We didn't quite say it that way. But you know, behind the scene, throw that shit if you want to. All right, don't end up throwing doo-doo. Don't end up, as they say down here in South Carolina, don't end up throwing nanny or don't end up throwing that shit. So, Anton, how was you the originator of that? You ain't got to answer that, sure.
You know what that means?
You're full of
That's what the
shit.
big old monkeys and the apes do when they get mad at people. They take a dump on the ground and they grab it from their booty and then they throw it at the other apes or they throw it at the other monkeys or they throw it at the tourists when they get mad at them. It's a low IQ move is what I'm saying. Don't be low IQ. Don't reduce yourself to.
Okay, I'm gonna play ape here for a minute. How is it low key? Because you say apes have no way of thinking. So how are they smart enough to know the shit in their hand and throw it directly at you? If they were low IQ, they thinking on your level. Because I'll be damned as a human. I'll be damned if you not gonna duck.
Okay.
So ain't you gotta be on the level of the monkey throwing shit at you? I'm just saying.
This man is just talking. Glad when he shut up.
Listen, he ain't gonna shut up for a while. I told you.
Okay. Let me be quiet. Mute
Listen,
up.
my daddy used to say, there's nothing worse than a grown ass man running around with idle chatter. Because that's just what this is. Idle fucking chatter, folks. There's nothing of value in what he's saying right now. I gave credit where credit was due. I agreed with a couple of things he said. But the rest of this shit is idle chatter. That's why we're going through it. That's why we painstakingly have to go through, as H.T. Ball once said, his lips. I know it's so rough for some of us. My co-host, I beg you to bear with me while we go through this anguish together. Here we go.
Play in the pig pen with the rest of the people in the mud. Don't throw doo-doo. That's my word for you today. No doo-doo. Just read. Just read to them. You start reading real fast, and they start getting confused, and they just walk away frustrated. Nothing is more angering to a person than to be intellectual, and they can't compete with that. Just ask them, what does that sign say up there? But always point to the sign or the street that don't have any emojis on it, or it doesn't have any images on it, so that they can't try to use their context clues to know what it don't have no colors. It don't have none of that stuff. So they can't use colors or images or icons or iconography to tell you what it is that it say. Hey, what does that say? And it don't have no shape on it. It's just a sign with words. That's how they've been getting through life. Using colors. Oh, red means stop. Green means go. Using the shape of the stop sign to know that they should stop. Lower bonds so that they can pay a lower amount and then be able to allocate the money towards whatever they wanted to. And Andrew Anthony responded in the corner, and we start putting images at the bottom of the page so that you'll know, oh, this means home. Oh, this use the money, the donated money to pay the original bond to release his son from jail. And so basically they was telling him to pay, I believe it was 10% of whatever the million is, but his lawyer argued for a lower bond so that they can pay a lower amount and then be able to allocate the money towards whatever they wanted to. And Andrew Anthony responded that the money was going to be used for his son's legal defense. So all of the GoFundMe money that is donated to them is going to be used, and they're allocating how they're going to use it. Here's how they're breaking it down. Legal defense, he also said the cash will be used for security to protect him after he reportedly received racist threats since the stabbing, and the family also plans to move into a new house for extra safety.
Again, folks, this is what I'm talking about, that misinformation. Hey, Angelica Diallo, how you doing? How you doing? I hope I said your last name correctly. Great to see you. Thank you for coming in. And you're right there, H.T. Baldwin. I don't use the word doo-doo. If I'm around a couple of my partners, I'm going to use the word shit. I'm going to use the word caca. I'm going to use a few other superlatives. But doo-doo is not going to come out my mouth unless that's a child that's still in diapers. Other than that, doo-doo is not coming out of my mouth. Okay? So you're absolutely right about that. Yeah, he's still around there, folks. So far, there's nothing of value that I have gotten from Anton. I'm not going to ask my co-host about it because I know.
Congratulations, y'all. Listen, there's nothing like being rewarded for a new home when your child is out there doing something that they probably not supposed to do, and they getting into something that they shouldn't be getting into.
Okay, there again. This is the point why I'm using him. That following that he has. No one checked him on what he just said. Basically, what he's saying is that these two parents, these well-to-do black parents, these two black parents that raised their children to be outstanding citizens, that was good in high school, that was a straight-A student, was a great football sports player, the very same thing that they tried to put on as Austin was doing, but he's not willing to give this family that looks damn near just like him, skin color-wise, the benefit of the doubt. And Shirley didn't come back 2 days later after he found out that he was absolutely wrong by reporting this, to come back and say, folks, I made a mistake. That's the kind of guy I am. Shari, any thoughts before I move on?
Nothing nice, so you can continue.
Well, no, you go ahead. You can say something mean. That's why I asked you to come on back and give me something else. Go ahead.
Okay. I'll go back to what if this was true, because I'm trying to figure out where was this interview from, why is this source used, and if this is what is going to happen, now what? So what?
Absolutely.
Speaking about the guy with the so-called Versace robe on with 1,000 tennis shoes behind him,
okay,
rubbing on this watch that he just Rolex that he just couldn't finish, and then he
Get
put his
him.
darn foot up in the air or the shoe,
Get
saying
him.
he got on that. So I want to know,
Get him.
how in the world are you going to compare these people and you have done the same thing? You just changed your image recently.
Get him. Okay. All right. Here's this is a comment from Angelica. She says, let me read this comment and moved up a little bit. So there was never a thought that their parents had the means to move without the need of using the online funds, and that was the whole question of the mother and the father holding the press conference, basically to say, even though she said it in an upset way there, Angelica, the whole purpose of that press conference was to say, we didn't need that damn money. We got our own shit. We got our own thing, Anton. No matter what you want to think, we're pretty well to do. If you go back to the neighborhood that they live in, these folks are pretty well to do. She was a stay-at-home mom. I think they got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 3 other kids. They had some quite expensive cars, from what I understand. Nice house, from what I understand. These weren't your average run-of-the-mill, the folks that they talk about in the manosphere. None of the rules that they like applied here. But on the other hand, the deceased mother and father, they were the ones that was the single parents, the baby daddy and the baby mama. Let's go ahead and let him finish this.
Nothing like getting a new home for safety and security. So that is what the father said during the court hearing. Hey, why didn't you use the GoFundMe money in order to make sure that they made bond? Well, Judge, we didn't want to spend it on all of that. Well, what are you spending it on? Well, we want to spend it on legal defense, and we want to make sure that he gets security because he received some racist threats online. And we got to get a new house so that we can make sure that we get out the way. And we got to get a new house. That's what it says. It's highlighted right there. Andrew also said, who was the father, the family plans to move into a new house for extra safety.
Okay, let's talk about that for a minute, folks. Now knowing what you know, as the mother said, as the father said, as the lawyer said, as the foundation said, everything about this family, the children's school, the husband's work address, their address, everything has been put on social media to where the crazies at any time will show up. Would you feel safe there? Sure, I'll ask you. Would you feel safe in that original house?
No, I got to go into another location. It's
I'm
not
moving.
safe.
Right, I'm
It's
moving.
not safe at all.
It's not. It's absolutely in. As a matter of fact, I'm moving to an undisclosed location.
Correct.
You're not gonna find me unless somebody else tells you where I'm at. You're not gonna find me. So would it be advantageous, Anton Daniels, for the couple to say, yeah, we just bought this house, and flash it? Do y'all ever think about the arguments that dudes like this is posting to you? If you know people are intent on doing you some kind of harm, why would you get on social media and say, hey, look what we just bought? A brand new house, a brand new car. Y'all make sure y'all spot us here. Does that make sense to y'all? Anton Daniel followers. Maybe I catch 1 or 2 of y'all tonight. Maybe y'all float this little bird back over and say, hey, that nigga was talking about you. Maybe. Let's go.
If it's a lie, they told it. If it's a lie, they told it.
Who told it?
So, as usual, I'll keep you guys updated. I'll let you know what's going on behind the scenes. I'm going to keep you guys informed. Stop abusing the handicap. I'm going to keep you guys informed on what's going on in these streets. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on, listen, don't get mad at me. We'll talk about it on After Hours. We'll talk. Make sure y'all tune in to After Hours tonight. It's going to be an incredible.
Okay, Anton, listen. A little bit in the next clip, Shaw. Like I said, we're gonna talk about him a little bit more. But in the next clip, You pretty much gave me permission to critique you. And we're going to get to that point. But the next clip, folks, again, we're going to continue with your hero, Anton Daniels, because a lot of you folks follow him. A lot of folks listen to his Money Mondays. A lot of you folks listen to Anton After Dark. I have been doing my, dare I say it, it is really hard to listen to this guy. But in order for you to report on somebody, you got to think of the mindset of how they think, what they think, why they talk. One thing I can tell you about Anton Daniels so far, he despises black women with a passion. Y'all can say what you want to, but that's just my general observation of him. No matter whether you're successful, no matter whether you're whatever, he just, to me, he just has a general disdain for black women, and he lets that say that a lot. And I don't understand why a lot of you black women will sit there and allow Anton to say some of the things that he says about you, whether you think it's not directed at you in a roundabout way. It absolutely is. Now, if you don't believe me, go and look at a lot of Anton Daniels' content. It is directly saying that black women should not do this, black women should not have this, black women are directly responsible for this. Everything that you can think of bad, Anton Daniels at one point in time has put directly in the lap of black women, i.e., especially single black mothers. So in this case, Anton Daniels, I'll ask you, why are you not talking the trash that you talk about single black mothers as you're talking about this single white mother to me, in my honest opinion, raised two bullies? It's not proven. That's just my observation. Sure.
Continue.
So here we go, folks. Here's some more Anton. Let me remove this. Here we go again.
A conversation with you guys about T. Henley, because you see how the sun is hitting me. This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, none of that.
Again, folks, a lot of times we start off with this shit right here. Let me tell you something. Grown men do not talk about them wearing no makeup, because you will not ever expect me to say, hey, I'm wearing some makeup. That's not going to come out my mouth. I'm not going to do a commercial saying, yeah, shit, look at the makeup I put on today.
Music with Maybelline.
Right. Right. Music with Maybelline. That shit not going to happen.
What is this? His opening or something?
Yeah, this is his opening. This is the first thing you see. This nigga, this Rick Ross motherfucker right here, telling you about how the sun is sparkling on his skin. Nigga, please.
Ugh.
Yeah. Don't that do something for you as a woman, Sean?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
Let's go.
It's 100% Teach Henley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth. Jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because...
Again, listen, you're not going to hear me say, after I get the first thing I do in the morning, I jump up and I pray. I'm not going to tell you that, because that's not the first thing I do in the morning.
Wait a minute. Is he? Maybe he's advertising something. Keep going.
Okay. You follow me so far?
Never get a second chance to make a first impression.
Right.
So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order,
20%
off life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price, because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people, and I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want.
What man walks around looking at folks saying, I see Dusties everywhere? He walks around the street. Look at
I'm still trying to figure out what a kicking it is, because every time I see him, he all alone.
Right. Who he kicking it with, y'all?
I know it's an advertisement, so hey, that's good.
He's soon to come to your neighborhood.
Something.
Look,
get a percentage or something.
Listen, here's my advertisement. Here's my advertisement. Brew by Fabergé. Dun 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 dun. What you think?
Time to upgrade, but continue.
Time to upgrade.
Yeah.
Well, what's the new cologne that they got now? Kevin Samuels. Well, he can't tell me.
You gotta get some Sauvage. That's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. Get some of that, something like that. You know, go and take me a picture. Finish letting my beard grow. I'm gonna let it finish growing out. I'm gonna dye it. I ain't sure what color yet.
100% natural. Okay.
Huh?
Continue. I want to see this commercial. Keep going.
Okay.
To separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self-care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now, and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you a pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it.
Listen, folks, if you're trying to look good, if you're trying to level up, wash your ass.
You know, this is actually not a good commercial at all, but I'm interested in hearing the end. Keep going. I'm laughing inside. Go ahead. Keep going.
Okay.
Then make sure you get your Teach Henley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels, because Uncle's never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Teach Henley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later.
All right. So what I'll say is he actually have a product that he can get a piece of the action. Okay, cool.
Okay, cool.
He needed to have some type of someone needed to teach him how to do that commercial, because it wasn't good. He out rocking it with people. There was no one around.
Right,
He mentioned
nobody around.
Dusties, and also the way he described it as in changing your life by using a product. Somebody need to work with him, so you could tell. I'm gonna be quiet on that. I'm not gonna say.
No, go ahead. Finish what you got to say, please. Listen. That was almost a musical lyric right there. We're gonna have to try that again. But look, folks. This guy right here, Anton, I will give you credit, my man. Unlike some of your other counterparts and some of your predecessors, they aren't able to market themselves. Are you marketable? Listen, it's obvious that you are, because you have a product that you are marketing. Now, my opinion to you is I would find me, you know, you're doing Money Monday. That commercial, as you said right there, that ain't it, bro. I can tell you that. No, that's not it.
That's something he made up on his own. He had no coaching or anything. And that tickles me, considering you're supposed to be getting, some type of advice or whatever from him.
Right.
So that's as much as I'm going to say.
Right. Well, I'm going to give you some free advice there, Anton. If you're going to do a commercial like that, it means it needs to be anywhere from 30 to 45 seconds long. That's it. You talk too damn much.
Well, I'll grunt on that.
Okay. Let's go, folks. Now, again, kudos to you, because you are marketable. You found a niche. I never take any man's hustle away from him. So again, as they said, as my man John did, I got my black fist out, my good times fist. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all know what I mean right now, right? So kudos to you for that. But let's continue on. This, folks, the reason why we're listening to this part, okay, that last video that we listened to Anton Daniels, the information had not come out yet. That the mother had not that the family hadn't come out yet. So this information that Anton put out, that circulated for 2 days. The same with that other the white supremacist guy. That circulated for 2 days. It permeated throughout the YouTube streets, the Instagram, the TikTok, all the social media, on Fox News. This was the talk that the family took the money that they were supposed to defend their child with, Karmelo Anthony with. They went instead and bought a house and a car and some other shit. That's the impression that you gave your followers, along with thousands of other folks. That's why I say, folks, charisma in the wrong hands is a deadly motherfucker. It is. There's no wrong. There's absolutely no reason to say that you were wrong about something. And Anton, if you call yourself a stand-up dude, as you say that you are, because I've heard you say it on several of your streams, you would have stood up and said, in this case, I was wrong. But you didn't. Let's continue.
What's going on? Is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. What up? What up? What up? What up? What up?
Again, folks, I'm not a hater. I'm not here to critique anything about him personally. But listen, if you're gonna present yourself in a way, if you're gonna have a studio and all that, listen, at least make the studio. Again, credit where credit's due, Anton. The way you got your studio set up, a lot of folks can't do that. Don't have the means to do that. So again, give credit where credit's due. With the backdrop, I wouldn't particularly have it looking like that. But again, with that Rick Ross sweater on, and shit.
That beard getting thicker and thicker at the bottom.
Yeah.
Join the bag chasers on Patreon. For when it comes to men using that terminology,
it's not very masculine, is it, Short?
Not at all. No.
It isn't. It is not, because that's something you hear. Once I hear somebody say bag chasing, the first thing I'll imagine, two things I imagine: a short skirt and a purse.
Okay, I'm not gonna comment. Go ahead, keep going.
No, go. You can. If I'm wrong, let me know now. I don't mind being wrong. If I'm wrong, though, when somebody says I'm out chasing a bag, I'm usually thinking that's what the females do. No disrespect.
Yeah, that's what we say as women. So
it is what it is. It's one more thing. Let me tell y'all something. Sometimes women, it might seem like I'm talking about you, but let me
you don't understand. I ain't scared of you, motherfucker.
I really ain't.
Mm-hmm.
I really ain't. So no disrespect, but sometimes I don't understand how y'all women follow this dude. Because every woman that I've come in contact with, that I've asked questions about Anton Daniels, don't see him very favorable. So who keeps this? Go ahead, Shore.
I was gonna say, because they could see who he is.
Yeah. So who keeps this dude afloat, Shore?
I don't know. People want to feel like they belong or something. I don't know.
I don't know either. But let's continue, folks.
My friends and family in the building, I appreciate y'all. Shout out to everybody that already hit me off early in the morning.
Remember, I asked you, right. Remember, I asked you, who keeps this guy afloat, right? Listen, y'all.
Before the show even start with an appreciation cash app, I appreciate that. Thank you, my friends. Thank you to everybody holding me down. I want to give a special shout out to Mike, that dude, early, right away. And my dog, Spencer Campbell, says, good morning, AD. What's happening? Chef G rap yesterday. I love you. Thank you to everybody that continues to hold us down. What's up, family? Man, we made it to another Friday. Can't y'all get appreciative and say, I appreciate for making it to another Friday? It's Friday, y'all. Man, we had an awesome show last night. It is Friday, and the building says good morning to Anton. Ben says good morning, Anton, and to all of the common sense thinkers in the chat. Common sense ain't common. Common sense ain't common. Hound says, bruh, the black community needs to learn how to disown people. Aaron White says, so confused. We have thousands of black men killing other black men. I never seen a GoFundMe account for any of the killers. What up to my dog, Jay Ben? Your car in the building. Banks.
Okay, damn it, that's enough. Has he mentioned has he mentioned a woman yet? Have any of y'all heard him mention a woman yet? That was at least 10 to 11 folks that he mentioned. Have any of y'all heard him mention a woman yet? So again, Charles, I'll ask you, who supports this dude?
And I guess those that want to belong or feel like they belong.
The proof is in the pudding. Who is he calling out?
And he's called them, my dog and my this and that.
So what that means, Sean? What that mean, Sean?
I'm just still laughing at the millionaire money and all this.
We ain't got to that. They ain't fell for that. They fell for that shit long time ago. Because if I understand, the millionaire money been around for a while. They had a few spinoffs, like like All of the Family and shit.
But they only last 3 weeks.
Right.
Bloop, fell off.
Right. Nigga fell off quick.
Oh my goodness.
But again, folks, I'm saying that to make a point. Sometimes, I say that the women are the reason why these men are being propped up. But so far, everybody that he has spoken to has been a male. So, fellas, y'all can't blame the females for this monster here. Because he's telling you who's supporting it. Y'all listen for yourself.
Well, Hayes, Azriel, what up? Juan says top of the day. Quentin, shout out to my dog Quentin. In the building, Bag Chasers in the building. Time to get early morning blessings, says Abundance Mindset. Money Making Friday, says Berta's baby boy. Molly, what up, Molly? Molly had her clavicles out. Is that what you call them? I need to look.
And finally, when he does get to a woman, the first way he greets her is what? Titties out. That's what he thinks about y'all. If you ain't showing the bosom or the cleavage, you hold no value. That's how he greets you. Right. Good morning via text app. Where to do that at? If I'm going to cash app you in the morning, it's going to be for one reason. You leaving. Where your cash app is, girl?
What I was listening to is we had a show last night, and now we're back this morning. So
okay,
I'm still trying to figure out.
No, right? What time he got to make money somewhere else? If he had a good show last night, and now here we are back today.
Yeah.
And the day before that, he had a show. So this is at least 3 days running that he has been occupied with some form of fashion of the YouTube streets. Is that what you're trying to say, Shar?
Yeah, this is the money maker right here.
Right, so, Friday fuckery.
Full year. I mean, full time content creator. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Let's continue.
Up what a clavicle is. I'm so chill. I'm so chill today. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I am just so smooth. I'm just smooth as eggs. Are eggs smooth? I don't know. Life is good, man. It's almost like I'm just on like mono, like that monotone versus being in stereo or high definition. Sometimes you just want to chill. You want to just slow motion. I'm in that type of mood.
So
last
Anton,
night was crazy.
Right.
Yes, clavicle.
So Anton, why did you just say, you know what, if you're in that type of mood not to be fucked with, why did you fire up a live stream? Right, HT Ball. When I was wondering when someone was gonna catch that, smooth as eggs. You do a couple things to eggs. You boil them, you fry them, you scramble them. But either way, like a hero, sandwich, they're getting ate up. Antoine. Oh, I mean Anton. But why would you why would you compare yourself to eggs? Have you ever, Sean? Let me ask you. I'm glad I'm with you tonight because there's a lot of things I'm confused about. Maybe I'm missing something. But have you ever heard anybody consider them that has compared themselves to saying? Have you heard the pickup line? I'm smooth as eggs.
Maybe just people have nothing to actually say, so maybe that's it.
Right, right. Angelica said maybe he mean his poached eggs. Well, I don't. Isn't poached eggs kind of raw?
To me, they are. And runny.
Yeah, right. They runny, ain't they? No, I'm not fucking with that. No, no. But let's continue. Listen, let me. I said I was going to put the. How long we've been going now? A little over 2 hours now. So let me put the.
Yeah, can you put on fast mode or something?
Yeah. Let me move around here. All right, let me move around here.
Uh-oh.
Yep, here we go.
Uh-oh.
Uncle Jam wants you to join his army. He looked like he about to do a record cover for the Funkadelic. Let's continue. Let's see what he got to say right here, folks.
Okay.
Right.
Don't make them like this no more.
You're right. And see, that's one thing. One thing I don't understand about the YouTube crowd, Shar. Can you explain it to me? Why do these folks feel it necessary to flash their shit?
It's a psychological thing.
Now, this stream went on for almost 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 hours, y'all. And he finally got to where he mentioned what actually what was
it's
going
supposed
on.
to be the update, right?
Right. He finally got to mention it. Okay. I'm trying to get to where he actually says the update. Isn't that how he described it? The update?
Right. I'm gonna keep
Right.
y'all updated and everything.
Right. So let's move on to where he gets to the so-called. Right.
Side. Right? Whether it be Daniel Penny or whatever, nobody can hold them accountable for getting funds donated to their causes or getting their lawyers paid for or anything like that, because it happens both ways. Whether you conservative, whether you liberal, whether you want black, you white, most of the time when the case becomes public, even when the liberals are super mad at a conservative because he defended himself in a court of law against whatever it is that he's being convicted for, they absolutely positively donate, or they add resources, or they have some super PAC paying for the lawyers to make sure that the guy 100% get taken care of. On the flip side, I may not necessarily agree with whether or not he's innocent or guilty, or the whole thing that's surrounding the case as far as what's been reported on in the news, but I am not going to sit there and say that people should. I'm not going to donate because I don't want to, but I'm not going to criticize somebody else. If that's what you want to do with your money, you should be able to donate to the defense fund to make sure that the family is taken care of. That's your business. That is your business. Both sides, either way, all of them get funds donated to them so that they can have a fair day in court. I have no problem whatsoever if somebody is getting funds that is being voluntarily donated by the people to make sure that they got a defense fund or do whatever it is that they got to do. That is on him, because it happens on both sides.
Well, again, Anton, all that gibberish was something that you should have said. I was wrong. None of what I said on that last stream was right. That we know, Antoine, that none of what you talked about in this stream or that stream says that the family did it, but you didn't clear that up. And this is the part, folks, when I'm listening, I'm wondering, is he going to clear up what I heard him clearly say, that the family bought a new house and a new car with the money? Have you heard that yet, Char?
No, that's not going to be talked about.
Okay, let's go on a little bit further. I know, folks, we about to wrap this up in just a little bit.
So we have to be objective. We have to be objective. and say that it's fair. If it's fair for one side, it's fair for the other. I'm not interested in donating to it. But I can't tell people that they can't donate to the defense fund of somebody else when they want to do it. That is up to them. And no, it is not backpedaling. It's being objective. I'm objective to remove emotion from this because I have no dog in the fight whatsoever. And I could just call it straight down the middle based off of what I see, a spade being a spade. Now, people may disagree with me, but that is being objective. More than one thing can be true at the same time.
No, more than one thing can't be true in this case because you clearly said, Anton, that the family bought a house and a car. That is not true. So more than one thing cannot be true. The more you run your mouth, the more you insert foot.
You can have a defense fund based off of whatever it is that people want to donate. At the same time, I don't have to believe that you are innocent. But it is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. That is their money. They can do whatever they want to do with it. You should not be criticizing it.
$800,000 home.
Does it look good? No. But that's their money. If people want to donate.
In what way? What is the difference? Regardless to whether the kid is innocent or guilty, he has not been to trial yet. So if I'm sure it's the lawyers don't work for free. It's called retainers. This is called Money Monday, and just as the folks and me, as well as the folks down in my chat and the other places that's listening to this, if this is called Money Monday, when you gonna get to the money pot? Preach it, preacher, preach it, preacher. Where that money bowl at? When we gonna get to that money bowl? We ain't even here for free, motherfucker. But this is pretty much it, folks. This guy has been, for the last couple of streams that I've watched of this guy, he's full of hot air. There's no value in Anton Daniels. None.
To it, then they can
purchase Escalade in private security. Let me make this very clear. The Next Generation Action Network has always had a security detail. Many of you that know us in the Dallas and Fort Worth media know that we have our own security detail.
As well as everyone in our community, everyone involved in the investigation, all social media platforms. My husband had to take a leave of absence because he's afraid what may happen to our family. His mental health is deteriorating day by day. We have endured death.
Now, this guy here, right now, folks, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but you can go over to Anton Daniels' channel and you will see several streams where he said black people don't care about other people's mental health issues. They push it to the wayside. This is out of the mouth of Anton Daniels himself. We don't care about black men's mental health. But as soon as someone mentions it, that's the reaction. Yes, boss. It's funny. And not only that, he didn't just laugh at it. He now continues to replay it to where he makes fun of it. Look for yourself, folks.
Yo, dog, he did that right on cue, didn't he? Hold on, check it out. She said, and his mental health has been deteriorating day by day. He says,
well,
this is stupid.
Jesus.
This is absolutely childish. Now, I'll ask anybody, if you were looking for someone to help you invest your money, after watching this guy on a YouTube stream, would you let this guy invest your money into anything?
Not even a scratch off.
No, okay, I wouldn't send him to stove.
Right. May take my change.
Right. I sent him with $10. I sent him the Mountain Dew only costs $1.39. Where the change, boy? I don't know. What? But this is the guy that y'all follow. This is the guy that everybody says that he is Anton. I follow the teaching of Anton Daniels. What is he teaching y'all? To make fun of the less fortunate? Because you can't tell me this does not play on the mental facilities of the both parents. My son could possibly, at the age of 17, 18, 19, how long ever the trial takes, could be in prison for the rest of his life. But that's not supposed to be any mental stress on their part, is it? Sure. Thoughts?
This dude is sick.
Let's continue. Watching, folks.
Come on, big dog. Come on.
Health is deteriorating day by day. We have endured.
He finds this funny, folks.
Is this a simulation? Is this a simulation? What am I looking at here, man?
He finds this funny. And they wonder why some folks in white America treat us the way they do.
I'm not going to act like I don't see what I saw. Communicate.
Right, because the folks we prop up, this is what they do. This is how they react. He's belittling this so-called family. Well, not this so-called family, but this family that is obviously under duress. Whether whether he believes it's self-imposed, whether he believes the kid is innocent or guilty or whatever. That's not the point. You're not missing anything, HT Ball One, because I don't find anything funny about this. I don't see where this was a part of where this would be a joking matter for Anton or anyone else to question someone's mental capacity during a trying time in their life on both sides of the fence.
Is just as much body language as it is what's coming out of your mouth. Why did he wait till she said that before he went into the side? Oh, it's mental health. Yes, this is crazy.
Health is deteriorating day by day. We have endured.
And this is your leader here, folks. This is someone who thinks that what this young lady is experiencing right now is funny. This is someone who thinks that he will hold up. Y'all heard him talking about Daniel Penny. Y'all heard him talking about what is the other guy? Kyle Rittenhouse. He hold those folks in high regard. But this is what he do when you can't attack the single black mamba. You try to turn the daddy that's in the home that they say ain't never there, according to Anton. All the key elements of being successful or having a successful marriage and raising children successfully is right here in front of us. But instead of Anton talking about that, what is he doing? He's making fun of it. Let's go.
Oh man. Jesus Lord. Got his Kendrick Lamar beads on, his Minister Farrakhan bow tie on. This is so funny, bro. I can't do this. I just can't. And I'm gonna read these Cash App shortly also. What Marco Rubio is basically saying is that I'm gonna go with the over and the Knicks minus 7.5. I'm taking
Every single day to provide for us. To make.
This is what I'm trying to figure out. All right. This is what I'm trying to figure out. And forgive me if I'm a little off, and I'm always open to being wrong, but I doubt it. Why is the woman the one that is sitting there having the press conference and talking instead of the man?
Did that make sense to you, Shar?
No, I mean, why is there a problem?
Why is there a problem? Why even ask that question? That is that child's mother. If there's no one that's closer to him, even than the father, even though this is a two-parent home, he is yet to mention any of that. Why is it a problem that this mother is speaking out against what's going on in her family? Why does it matter? Exactly, HT Ball One. Why does it matter? This is the mind of your so-called leader over here. This is the mind of someone who thinks that women have no autonomy. That you're not. You go ahead, Shar.
She just stated that he was under stress. Maybe he's not comfortable talking.
Maybe he's not. Maybe he's a quiet guy. There's no reason need to be given why he's not speaking up. Maybe he's a guy that won't be as nice. Maybe he's like me and you, Shar. He might not be nice like his wife.
Wow, you never know.
Let's go. Let's do a little bit more of this here. I just wanted to point out a few things.
If something happens that then requires for a statement to be made or for something to be communicated on behalf of the family, I'm doing it. She not even gonna be in the public eye. I don't want her visible. I don't want her on cameras. I don't want her nothing. Hey, you stay in the house. You focus on taking care of business. I got this. Why is the woman the one that's always? Why is the man sitting in the background? Unless maybe he got a stuttering problem. I don't know. But why is the woman in the one in the front talking, and the man is in the back crying?
Sure we're the best financial to make sure we're in the best financial position possible. As a stay-at-home mom, I made it my life's mission to ensure our children are loved, nurtured, and supported every step of the way. And wake up.
Y'all said that she the stepmother. Somebody verify that for me before I take that as law.
Again.
So what?
What difference does it make whether she's the stepmother or not? It's obvious. Why would even if it's not verifiable, folks? There's nothing that said that this husband and this wife, all their children, are not biological. It's not. Why would you even invoke this into a conversation?
Because this is what they do. It's just so important of who you slept with, if you still with them. All this is so important to this group of people on YouTube.
To this group of niggas. I'm not going to say. I'm not just to this group of niggas. It's important to what your coach. Listen, folks. I've been around long enough to know that you can't detect how much coochie a woman give away. Good luck. Try it. What is this business? What is whether she the stepmother or not have anything to do with this? This is a married couple, a well-to-do couple that's raising children. That's how it need to be reported. That is it. Bottom line. Agree or disagree, Shar?
Agree. Just get to the facts.
Get to the facts. That's it. A little bit more here.
Tragic incident. Our family has been under attack. Whatever you think what happened between Karmelo and the Metcalf boys, my 3 younger children, my husband, and I didn't do anything to deserve to be threatened, harassed, and lied about.
That's a fact. I agree with that. Nobody should be threatening and calling other people. Got too much time on their hands, and for you to be doing work on your computer to try to figure out where somebody lives, and people that be creating these fake memes and these fake Photoshop pictures trying to stir up something and putting out addresses online, those people should be prosecuted to the furthest extent of the law, because this is a thing that we shouldn't have inside of the United States of America.
Well, it's a trifecta there, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, the sun shined on a dog thrash's ass 3 times in one night, because I agree. I agree with Anton on that. You know, there's some folks out there that in these YouTube streets, on both sides, in white YouTube streets, black YouTube streets, that all they want to do is create what they call trolls accounts, and anything they can do to make you look bad, whatever the levels of success that they have, anything they can, they will do. So I agree with Anton in that. But those who sit around and do that just for shits and giggles, at one point in time, they should be prosecuted for it. Absolutely. I agree with you, Anton. I hate to say it, but shit, 3 times the charm. But everything else you done went through the night, Bubba? No. Sure, before we move?
Keep moving.
All right, last little bit here, folks. Because he's not... Listen, he's not going to talk very long about this situation. That's why I'm just letting it play through.
Lies and false accusations that have been said about us, especially over the past week, has
She's
been
the reader.
overwhelming.
Okay, I got you.
The lies and their amplification put my family in danger, as well as everyone in our community, everyone involved in the investigation, from the police, the attorneys, and the court staff. Our address and my husband's previous employer's address has been put on all social media platforms.
Yeah, that's not cool.
My husband had to take a leave of absence because he's afraid what may happen to our family. His mental health is deteriorating day by day. We have endured death.
Hold on. Give me a second. Profitable for a lot of companies and a lot of executives.
Okay, folks. I played Anton Daniels show for one reason. I was hoping during the course of this stream that he retracted what he said about the family of Karmelo Anthony. But you can go to it. You can go to Anton's channel, and you'll see the name of the stream is on the placard, on the thumbnail. You can go over there, and you go to a certain point to where he's actually got the family up talking, and you tell me at any point in time that does he say, I was wrong for what I said 2 days ago? Does he give any reason to say I'm too charitable? I'm too charitable, Angelica. Okay, listen. Let me just close this out by saying, Shar, we're gonna get out of here in about 4 minutes. Let me just close this out by saying, listen, I'm not here to tell you who to support. You can support Anton Daniels till the cows come home. But I also will say this: no one is above reproach. Anton Daniels or anyone else in the YouTube streets, not even me. Anything that you heard here tonight from Anton Daniels that you could use in your day-to-day routine, coming from a stream that describes itself as Money Monday, let me know. Go over there and tell me, for a man that is supposed to be as rich and as famous and got all these kudos and all these different things going on in his life, that he's streaming, not streaming, uploading, he's streaming live.
Every day, several times a day.
Okay. Live. All right. Okay. So with that, Shar, any last thoughts before we get on up out of here?
I suffered long enough. Let's go.
Yeah. It hard is, but folks. But like I said, though, in order to clean up the streets, sometime in order to kill the snake, you got to chop the head off. Anton has a pretty good following. There's a lot of people over there that look like me and you, Shar. As you heard, especially young men. There's a lot of young men over there that's following Anton, and he's not. You heard him saying that women have no place to say anything. I didn't solicit that from Anton Daniels. That came from his own mouth. But there's some people will say that I have no right to critique Anton Daniels. That's like you saying it's all right for Anton Daniels to say that women have no autonomy. Who's right? I think women have all the autonomy in the world. Just you're human, just like I am. The only difference between between a man and a woman is y'all can have a baby and we can't. Other than that, we all got genitalia. It might look different. We all walk and talk. I don't wear dresses. Women wear dresses. But for the most part, if I cut you, what color you gonna bleed, Shar?
It's all gonna be the same.
Okay. Although we are different, there are similarities that makes us all one thing, human. So I can't, for me as a human, I can't expect, especially a human that I'm laying down with, expect her to be just that thing that all I want her for is a baby factory and someone that cooks for me. If that's your idea of having a woman, then no, thank you. Go ahead, Shar.
That's it.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all check us out here. What I'm doing next, Shar? Where am I at? What's today? Friday?
Yeah, so
Okay.
Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday night, 8 o'clock, folks. Y'all check me out, the Music Cafe. You can only catch that catch that live at the radio station. Of course, the link down to the radio station, the listening lounge, or if you were doing it mobile, it is down in the description. Live Sunday from 8 to 11, and also on Tuesdays from 8 to 11. You catch me at the Smooth Jazz and Indie Artist Show, and also down in the chat room, I got one of my great DJs, HT Baldwin. You can check him on Thursday nights at from 11 to 1 p.m. with the what's it called, Shar? Help me out there. I've been talking about Anton so long, my brain just scrambled.
He be jamming with the
Right.
house music.
The soulful
mixes.
house mix, right? The soulful house mix, folks. I tell you what, HT Baldwin. I know you're still in there, but I listen to a lot of DJs, but your blends is on point. There, good brother.
Sure
But anyway,
is.
folks, we got to get out of here. Shar, as always, it's great having you. I'm not sure when I'll be live again. Of course, this weekend is kind of dedicated to the music side of what I do. So I'll be busy on this Saturday and this Sunday trying to get some music done. So maybe Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, we'll do this live again. Until then, folks, y'all be safe. Watch your 3, your 6, and your 9. Say good night, Shar.
Good night, everyone. Take care.
All right. Good night, everybody. Y'all be cool.